Hi everyone, delonewolf here and welcome back to the Sunday recap, my weekly vlog where I talk a little bit about my last week in games. And in EVE Online I would say that it's been around an average amount of time in EVE Online if you count the CC stuff. So I did spend a little bit of time testing on CC, I joined the mass test, and on DQ probably a little bit less than average. It's mostly been doing some Crimson Harvest sites, so I did find a couple of evenings where I could do a decent amount of those sites, and the skins are actually worth a decent amount of money as well, especially if you can find some capital and super capital skins. Those are definitely worth it, and of course just keeping up with the blueprint copy business, although I completely ran out of those, so it's just the Strauss blueprint copy that I'm still producing, that I bring back to Jita. In Jita I also sold another Plex, this one at 1,260,000, so my next look is for 1,270,000, and then I'll try to unload another one. And as I've said in EVE Talk, I'm starting to diversify a little bit in some moon materials. The potential is there if CCP does the right changes with the moon mining changes that they're planning later in the year, probably early next year. Other than that, in EVE, I would say the two major things that are happening is of course EVE Vegas, where we got a new trailer, a lot of information is coming out as well, EVE Store, stuff like that. And of course the fact that the expansion has been delayed by 1 week. I'm all for it, honestly. It's been decently good during the mass tests, but when you dive into the individual features on CC, there are some problems, especially with the new player experience. I tried recording that, but I actually had the black screen on undocking problem, and so it still needs a little bit of polish. So taking an extra week, hell, even taking 2 weeks, I would be all for it. I'd rather have an expansion that works than something that is completely broken and then needs to be fixed over 2-3 weeks anyways. So I would say in EVE Online, right, just a little bit of a delay on the expansion gives you time to prepare a little bit more, and I don't think it's going to hurt anyone to have to wait for 1 extra week. After that we have the Elder Scrolls Online. I'm still having fun in ESO. The one Tamriel patch, it's really great in my opinion. So I'm still doing around 1 video every day, basically half an hour of adventuring or something like that, and I've been able to keep up with a single quest line, which I would say is probably the main quest line for the Dominion part of the game. It's been decently fun actually, and the further you go you actually get have decent rewards, blue loot. It's not great, but it definitely helps a level 13 character get stronger, and the quests also get more interesting. You have some interesting combat situations, the mobs also start to have more abilities, but you always are in the right zone, so it's always adapted to your level. And then as you get more abilities as well, as you get passives, you get stronger, easier. It gets easier basically to handle the content in different ways. I'm going for a very tanky character, so I can basically take a lot of damage, and that's just been the way I've been playing this playthrough so far. But yeah, I have to say the one Tamriel patch is hitting it practically out of the park for me in ESO. It's not exactly an Elder Scrolls experience like a Skyrim, like a Morrowind. You do have the MMO elements, but I would say what really stands out for me are the quality. So everything is voice acted, and the graphics are really great. It does look like an Elder Scrolls game. And then secondly, the sheer scale of the game. It feels bigger than a Skyrim, because you have all of those different zones to go to. You know that there are 2 other factions that you could go explore completely, and I'm only level 13, so yeah, there's still so much stuff to do, and the scale of the Elder Scrolls Online honestly feels like it's a lot bigger than the other Elder Scrolls games, the single player ones. So I would say for me, honestly, seeing this one Tamriel patch for a couple of weeks now, ESO has become a no-brainer, as it is just buy to play. If you find this on a good Steam sale, less than 50%, I would say you should not hesitate to go for it, because 20-30 hours out of the game is no problem. I think anyone that enjoys an RPG is going to get hundreds of hours out of that game just like that. Next to ESO, I also played a little bit of Banished, just a couple of evenings where I felt like relaxing was the best thing to do for me, and that's when I continue on my Banished city. One thing that I always do try to do is that I try to not make mines and not make stone quarries, because they take a lot of room, and they're actually slow if you want to do it without having to assign too many workers there. So I am completely dependent on the incoming trades for most of my stone and most of my iron, but to my surprise it's been going decently well, especially the iron. I have so much of it that it's basically taking up almost all of my space for storing stuff, but yeah, from time to time I get a nice stone supply, and then I can build up a little bit more in my town. We're now crossing a first river. I'm just keeping up with the pattern, and I'm regularly putting up wood production places that harvest wood, but also make me extra food, get me extra medicine, and it's been going surprisingly well. In fact, I would say a little bit better than in some of my other banished towns, where I tried the pattern and basically forced as much out of it as possible with making as many housing blocks and then surrounded by farms, because you would get all of this surplus of food, and yeah, basically the balance is a little bit better with having more year through food production facilities and a bit more wood as well. It basically puts you in a better position to continue expanding. So it's been going really well, and I keep up with this still in this week. We'll see if I keep going in the next week as well. After that, we've got the Elder Scrolls Legends, still just doing the daily quests at the moment. I don't feel like I have the extra time to start doing some arena runs or anything like that. One little trick that I found that may be useful is that from time to time, or actually decently often, you will have quests that are somewhat more tricky to do, especially in combination with other quests, such as win 3 or 5 games with a specific deck combination. So let's say agility and strength or something like that. And what I have found is, since you can switch out quests, one quest once a day, you can actually try to switch those out, and so far every single time I had a quest that is very combinable. So a quest in the nature of play 30 creatures in the shadow lane, or kill 10 creatures with actions, or things like that. So apparently when you switch out at the moment, you very often get quests that are not win 3 or 5 games with a specific deck combination, and that actually makes it very doable to just gather 3 quests every time you get one of those where you have to win games with a specific deck combination. You can try to switch that out, and I've always come across new quests that have been much easier to combine, because after that, of course, you can make a pilfer action prophecy deck, for instance, if those are your quests, or you can just make a 2 combination deck if the other one is play 30 creatures in a shadow lane. And that basically means that I just need to play ESO 2 or 3 times a week for less than an hour, and I do all of the daily quests for the entire week, which means quite a decent amount of gold. Sometimes you have quests that give you 60 or 70 gold, and considering 100 gold is a card pack, yeah, you're making good money, good headway in the Elder Scrolls Online. I also opened up a couple of card packs, but that's going to be a separate video. I would say for 20 card packs I got decently lucky there as well, and so I'm still keeping up with that. I'm planning to continue this definitely. I'm having a decent amount of fun, just I don't find the time to play extra Elder Scrolls Legends games, which I would spend in doing some arenas, but maybe later on some extra free time may open up. And finally we have Stellaris. So as you know, last week we started a Stellaris game, my brother and myself. We just wanted to see what a co-op game is like, and it works surprisingly well so far. So we just had a start without any actual plans or something like that, but my brother hosts a game, and through the Steam friends menu you can just right click join the game, and then it's actually the Steam actually immediately fills in the server from your friend, and you just have to fill in the password if there is one, and then there you go, you're in a game together. The performance has been really nice as well, and so we've decided to start a new game and to actually record that a little bit. So we're gonna try to make it a series. There are no promises there because last week we were planning to do more sessions than we did, so the schedule needs to be right, but so far Stellaris co-op is actually a lot of fun. You feel like you've got maybe a little bit of that edge by having a friend there on voice comms that can help you if you're really in a pinch compared to a single player game. And sometimes you can really get into trouble in Stellaris. You may have seen, well, actually, yeah, you probably haven't seen, but in the first game that we played, we were right underneath one of those ancient empires that was like very, very powerful, and that meant that we could get into trouble in no time and actually get wiped out if you wanted to at any time, basically. In this new game, it looks like we have a much better start, and it's gonna be decently interesting, I think, to see how well or how badly we can grow our two little empires in Stellaris there. It's a very interesting and fun game so far. You know, you've got all of those research events that create little stories. In fact, some fun stuff has happened already because one of my researchers just decided to go rogue. Who knows what that's going to lead to. You have all of those precursor races, ancient races, and then of course eventually you also have those huge space creatures that can become problems or potentially very powerful assets. So yeah, Stellaris, we're definitely gonna try to do a playthrough, and we're going to try to cover that as well on the channel. Hopefully it all works out, and that's basically been it for this week. So thank you very much for watching, guys, and I'll see you all next time.